I don't trust it. Go crazy.
Go crazy.
GM on the beat.
Hey, go crazy. Go stupid. Go crazy. Go stupid. It's the party time to slide and catch a vibe, huh? Get your dog, gon' get ready, time to ride, huh? Got your hair done and your hair cut. Makeup poppin', fellas got the Rolex. Go crazy. Go stupid. Go crazy. Go stupid. It's a cool Friday night and yeah, I'm trying to catch a vibe. All the dogs just hit my phone and told me peace, it's time to ride. You know that I'm dead fresh every time a nigga slide. Face it first when I be moving, keep the toolie on my side. Cause I'm real out the bottom, so I'm all about $1. Still hanging in the hood, mean I'm drinking out the bottle. Almost at the little party, finna let my nut hang. Came in 4 deep and we ain't touching no chains. Lot of babies in the bit, I can see them real clear. Yeah, the light to hit a nigga, shining like a chandelier. Time to head to the bar, chill, I got the first round. Pool table wide open, finna lock the bitch down. Couple rounds on the table, yeah, the liquor kicking in. Got a pocket full of money and I ain't scared to spend it. Threw some legs at the bar, so I caught the edge to drink.
Hey. Welcome back to WarDawg Ladies. This is episode 2. This episode, I am bringing you yet another heavy hitter in the game. Now, remember, WarDawg Ladies is simply a mentality, all right? This is my salute to women who get the job done and wear so many hats that we can't even keep track of, all right? But amongst all the amazing things that they do, they can also handle firearms. And you know me as a crazy crayon-eating Marine grunt, you know that's what I love. You know that's how I get down. And let me tell you, here on episode 2, I am about to bring you Army Veteran and 2A Gun Influencer and Realtor Lashonda Blue Hopkins, straight out of North Carolina. But before I bring her to the stage, let's do my normal thing and go over a few announcements. All right. Remember, you can find my book, The WarDawg Trail, a Marine Rifleman's Struggle with War and PTSD, on Audible, Amazon, Apple Books, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, and many other retailers around the world. Now, remember, I am a Marine grunt. I was present the very first day of the Iraq War. The next year I was there. The first tour, it was my unit that entered Baghdad first, and we were the ones that pulled down Saddam's statue. All right. For that, we were awarded the Presidential Unit Citation. Next year, once Fallujah jumped off, same thing. We were the first grunts to get sent in around April 2004 after the Blackwater contractors were murdered. Right. And then my third tour following year, 2005. So I spent 3 birthdays turning 19, 20, and 21 in Iraq during the war. Here's my story as well as my struggles afterwards. Now, remember, my book actually won an award for one of the best Iraq war books of all time by Book Authority. Let's see. Moving on, originally, most of my content bears around the outdoors TV with swag theme. All right. You remember after the war, I do what all crazy Marines do. Damn it. I wanted to get off grid, hunt, camp, do my thing. I was never fully able to materialize that show back in 2019 with the Hunt channel. But you know me, getting outdoors, getting off grid is always how everything started. You can catch my 24/7 live stream every day on 5 separate platforms. All right. I change it up and I rotate, whether we're on TikTok, which I now have a current strike in violation for 3 days. But everyone in the 2A community knows how that is. Bans, shadow bans, violations. But you can catch me streaming the 24/7 stream with all episodes from all 9 shows. All right. Whether I'm talking to bounty hunters, prisoners, amazing ladies like today, victims of gun violence, or my international affairs show, WarDawg Global Conflict Brief. Right. In terms of school, all right, in terms of teaching, all right. Remember, everything that I do now, whether it's self-publishing my book to Amazon, Walmart, Barnes and Noble, Books a Million and beyond, or starting a podcast, or starting a web series, or starting a 24/7 streaming service, or owning your own TV app. I now teach over on School. All right. That is school.com/Sergeant WarDawg TV. I recently added 11 total courses right now. So whether you want to know things like how to trademark your brand, which I had to do after I found another veteran biting and using my damn name on Instagram a few years back, to using AI tools like Manus to build your website, your app, or which helps me run this 24/7 network on my own. You now have those options over on School. Now, as I mentioned, big thing, I am a reseller partner with tvappbuilder.com. So if you are interested in taking your content off of just social media and in front of possibly 250 Amazon Fire TV users around the world, or 100 Roku users, 100 million Roku users around the world, please hit me up. All right. It is never easier than in 2026 to get your content on TV. Okay. I don't care what your genre is, what your niche is. This is what will help you, regardless of your followers, regardless if you had, you felt you have enough followers on YouTube, if you felt you have enough actual watch time hours on YouTube, this is the cheat code in 2026. All right, please rock with me. Tap in, whether it's a DM or emailing me over at info@sergeantwardawgtv.com. I want to see you get your content on TV and beyond. All right. That is what sergeants are all about. All right. Anytime you meet a sergeant, one or two things. All right. One, sergeants don't ask for flowers. All right. We don't come to you asking for respect, damn it. All right. That's already been earned. But number two, we come looking to see you and survive, man. We want to see you win, survive, progress to the next level. And as a creator, that is what I am all about. So as I said, whether it is the courses over on School, as you see again on the screen, or whether it is helping you enter OTT television, that's over the top, or CTV, that's connected TV. And all that is the devices that you see on the screen, whether it's Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, any device that actually gets plugged into a TV. All right. In 2026, I'm trying to tell you, there's not an easier way to get you and your content in front of possibly 300 million people around the world. Now, remember, I do not work for Roku or Fire TV, though. So I have the platform that helps you build your app for both platforms, but I do not have anything to do with your approval. That you still have to submit to Roku individually for their approval, or to Fire TV for their approval. All right. But hey, even if it doesn't work out the first time, do not trip. Don't worry about it. Even I got denied because, I speak raw about war and true crime content. All right. So whether you have to go through, one attempt, 3 attempts, hell, you still see me trying to get approved on Apple TV and Apple mobile devices, right? It's all about making sure you're compliant, that you comply with all of their TV or mobile app regulations. And as soon as you do that, you can spread your content to the world. And that's what I want to help you do. All right. Remember, as I mentioned, you can find Sgt WarDawg TV over on Roku right now. Just search for my app, Sgt WarDawg TV. Or I'm happy to let you know that after 3 failed attempts, my 4th attempt, I finally got it right. You can now open your Fire TV device, your Fire Stick, search for my show, Sgt WarDawg TV, and I have my own app with 9 separate shows ready to go. Now, this episode, like I said, we give a salute and a shout out to ladies, females. Remember, my main show, the WarDawg Trail, named after the book, has 170 episodes now. All right. But after I sat back and looked at things, out of all those episodes, man, I only have like 15 to 20 where I took the time to focus on amazing women. So that's why I had to start this show, WarDawg Ladies. Okay. And here we are with today's second guest coming to you straight out of Fayetteville, or as my homies in the Army like to tell me, they call it Vietnam. Or I just recently heard from our guest today, it's actually known as 26, but she will tell you all about that. Enough talking from me. All right. I am happy to welcome to the stage, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Lashonda Blue Hopkins, coming at you straight out of North Carolina. Welcome to the show.
What's up? What's up? What's up? How you doing?
I'm chilling. I'm so glad to finally link up with you to be able to tell your story. I gotta admit, you are obviously your own vibe. You got your own swag, your own audience, your own following. Out of all the shows that I normally do, I don't expect much activity because people know I'm just a crazy crayon-eating Marine. You feel me? But for this show, when I put up your promo, oh man, activity and love and notice came up from everywhere, man. I'm talking whether it was the gram, social media, X, TikTok, people really tuned in when they saw it was your face and your story. So that made me even happier to say, hey, we got her on the show, damn it. And you know, I got her here with us, and we are finally able to tell the story of not only a dope U.S. retired Army veteran, but also an amazing realtor, as well as to a firearms instructor and influencer, and the recent recipient of the ARM6 Firearms Instructor of the Year Award. I gotta tell you, I am such a fan.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I must say, first, I want to say before we get into all the introduction, for those of you who don't know me, I do want to say thank you for taking the time and even inviting me to have me on the show. But also thank you to everybody in the two-way space who has embraced me, who has supported me, who has, you know, like collaborated with me and just shown me like, hey, Blue, this is what, you know, you do over here. Because two-way space is different. It's totally different. You know what I mean? It's different from any other space I've been in. So, and I love it. I love it, love it, love it. You know, everybody has their own, you know, niche, if you will. So whether if you know, you're a tactical shooter, whether if you're a competition shooter, whether if you're a content creator, whatever, everybody has their lane. And I just love to see it all, you know, so that's what I love. And I love the fact that they embrace little old me. So, so I really appreciate that.
Damn right. You can't blame them, though. Like I said, you can tell. Yeah, I can even tell on this show, which is why I'm gonna shut up and sit back. You obviously are your own vibe, experience across multiple, you know, fields. And when it comes to holding down a mic, rocking a crowd, we know you got the game on lock. So, if you don't mind, let's jump right into your story. Talk about your hometown, Fayetteville, North Carolina. As you told me earlier, they call it the 2-6. Or as my Army homeboys like to tell me, they call that thing Vietnam, baby.
They do. All can be true, and all of it is true. Okay, so that's just what it is off the top. So where do I begin? So as far as me, I was born here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, but I was only here until I was like about 4, and then moved to New York because that's where my mom was originally born at. She got pregnant with me. They shipped her down south. You know. So that's why I was born down here. But anyways, moved to New York, Spanish Harlem as it's known, Washington Heights. So I stayed there for several years and then ended up moving back down south. My mom couldn't make up her mind. We moved back to New York. Second time was in Brooklyn. And so stayed out there for a few years, then came back down south. And once I came back that time, ended up staying down here. So that's why I say Fayetteville is definitely my home. I was born here. But that's not uncommon for people, you know, especially on the East Coast. and they have ties, to New York, because a lot of people who originate from the South, especially like our grandparents and things like that, they migrated north because they were treated a little bit better and their money could go a little bit further too, way back in the day. So that's really not out of the norm. You see a lot of Southerners migrate to the north, and then after they make their money, retire, they move back down south so their money can go further. So that was exactly the story with my family. So once I graduated high school, which was in 1996, graduated from Terry Sanford Bulldogs. So once I graduated from there, joined the military, 17 years old when I joined, and ended up joining Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, was where I went to basic training. Oh my God, Fort Lost in the Woods, for those of you who are Army. So I did that. I was in the medical field. So I started out as a 76 Juliet. Nowadays it's known as 68 Juliet, but back then it was still under 76, which was medical logistics. So started out doing that, was stationed at Fort Sam. And then that's when they was like, you know what? We're going to send this joker to Central America. So they started sending me to Honduras. They sent me to Panama. They sent me to, where else I go from there? That was it from there. Then I ended up going to Germany, and then I went to Kosovo twice. Then left from Germany, ended up going to Fort Polk, Louisiana. I didn't go anywhere from there. Then I ended up going to Hawaii, and that's where crap just hit the fan, because that's when the war kicked off. So once the war started back in, what was that, 2003? So yep. March of 2003, then that's when we were supposed to have been going into Iraq, but Turkey didn't allow any more ground troops. So I was there at Misau in Germany. So they didn't let us go there. So we stayed, but I ended up flying my 3-month-old son to the States. So you want to talk about when it comes to the sacrifices that women make in the military. That was one of those extreme events, because I know most women couldn't even imagine leaving their freaking 6-year-old or 10-year-old, let alone a 3-month-old. But no complaints, because I chose to join the military.
Sacrifice for real.
Yeah. So, but we didn't go anywhere. And so, and we'll get into that a little bit into the show, because leadership is a thing too, right? So, and we'll touch a little bit on the different types of leadership styles. So you do have a lot of toxic leadership in the military. Unfortunately, it just is what it is, because now that I'm retired, and I've been retired now for 9 years, entering into my 10th year, to be 10 years, February 28th of next year. But the point is that, looking back, reflecting over it, as most veterans do, you sit back and you're like, damn, why did I have to go through that? Or somebody could have made a better, command decision on that right there. I get it. It's a war going on, but do you really need to snatch a 3-month-old baby away from its mom? Really? No, you don't have to do that. And per the regulation, you're not even supposed to do that. You're supposed to at least give 120 days. So, but that's neither here nor there. But that was one of those sacrifices. So after that, Jakai came back to the States. That's my oldest son. He came to the States, and then I ended up going to get him again when he was, about 6 months old. And then we ended up PCSing to Fort Polk, Louisiana. So Fort Polk, Louisiana, as you know, that's home of JRTC. So I was there for 2 years. I was in 115 Field Hospital. And it was okay. That was a nice assignment. I'm not going to lie. All we did was run and, go to the field. That's all we did for the most part. And just do different training exercises and things like that. Didn't go anywhere. I didn't. I stayed on Rear D when they went to Abu Ghraib. So I stayed back on that particular assignment. But then when I PCS to Hawaii, that's when it got real. So I ended up going to Iraq the first time in 2006 with 3rd Brigade. So I was in 325 BSB, Brigade Support Battalion. So I was in Charlie Med at that time. So we were in Kirkuk. And so we were there. We were supposed to be there for 12 months, but then ended up getting extended to 15 months. And what was crazy is we didn't even know that we were getting extended for 15 months. FRG found out.
You were one of those that was in Iraq. I heard about Army units going through that. I heard about units, being there, and unexpectedly being added 2 and 3 months on your time like that.
Yeah.
You were one of them that had to go through that. Damn.
I was. And what's crazy is because what people don't really understand is different branches have different missions, right? So for the Army, we're there for 15 months. And then you see like the Air Force, they're rotating every 3 months. You're looking like,
right. Who you telling, man?
I'm like, I joined it. I'm looking like, damn, I joined the wrong branch. You know what I mean? When you just out there and you're just thugging it out and you're just looking like, damn. And even though, because I know some people might be like, oh, well, you get to get an R&R. Really? A 15-month deployment, you take an R&R for 2 weeks, maybe. You know what I mean? And then you bringing your ass right back out to Iraq. Come on now. What kind of break is that?
I mean, could you even really enjoy it knowing you had to go back the whole time? I mean,
no,
it's always in the back of your mind, right?
It's always in the back of your mind as far as, well, first of all, even the effects of war, and without going too deep into it, but even with the effects of it, the thing is that you don't know if you're going to come back. Once you're there, because it gets real. Once you do that combat drop into Iraq, once you on that daggone C-130 and you feel that combat drop, you already know shit is about to get real once you step off this damn flight. As soon as you hit that motherfucking flight line, you already know what time it is.
Right.
So you don't know if you're going to make it back or not. And that's on your mind every single day because you have incomings. You have, you hear about the KIAs. You have people huffing. You got people committing suicide. You got all this shit going around you all day, every day. And you still are expected to carry out your mission. You're still expected to be some sense of normalcy. You're still expected to come back to the U.S. and be normal after going through all of that shit. That's what's crazy.
Who you telling? I'm sorry. Even the fact that you just mentioned the word huffing, you just gave me because the people in the States don't realize that we had guys, you had U.S. servicemen, and this is that kind of behind the scenes shit that I'm glad I was able to get you on the show for, because people don't realize that even shit like that was happening. Yeah. And I had homeboys who, whatever, crazy grunts, he looking for a buzz. These motherfuckers doing shit like that, turning blue, can't breathe. Yeah. You like, man, we got these dudes trying to kill us, and you over here doing this shit. And you, so I'm sorry. Just out of everything you just said, you one of the few people that I can relate to that even knows that huffing was going on with our own.
Yeah, and the daggone PX there, the little small ass PX that they had to take all the damn canned air off the shelves because soldiers were actually quick high, and a lot of them were, they would kill themselves over it, So I mean, it was just crazy, the psychological warfare that you have to endure while you're in combat. People really don't understand, and so that's why I tell people, you might see a soldier, because people be like, oh, how are you 100%? You have no fucking clue what I've been through. And the thing is that what does 100% disabled veteran look like? They all don't walk around here looking like Lieutenant Dan. They all don't walk around here missing their limbs.
Exactly.
They don't. They really, really don't. It's unfortunate to our veterans that do. And I'm going to get to that because once I ended up leaving Hawaii, I ended up going to Walter Reed. So I got to see it full circle with the MAT Center, the MAT-C Center there, where you have all the amputees that were, they would come from theater and then they would go to Walter Reed, the old Walter Reed, because we shut that down due to the base realignment and closure back in 2011. But the point is that you got to see it come full circle. You got to see the aftermath of war, if you will, because you get to see, the first order effect while you're in combat. But then once you get to Walter Reed, or whether if you're at Launch Store, whether if you're at Brooke Army Medical Center and there's burn victims, whether if you're getting medevac to either of those locations, different, level 3 echelon of care, if you're going to those areas based off of whatever the injuries are, you really get to see what soldiers go through during war. And that's on the outside. Now imagine all of the soldiers that are walking around with internal scars that you can't see.
Actually, you just mentioned 2 more big things that stood out to me. First off, I'm glad what you said. I don't, and I hope other veterans don't ever waste motherfucking time trying to explain themselves to civilians about
No.
their percentage or what they've been through or what they deal with every day. I mean, hell, people don't know, even personally, just off the looks of it. Hell, I ain't ashamed to show it. I have to wear a Band-Aid on my head every day because of my traumatic brain injury, right?
Yeah.
I have to use a Band-Aid to stretch the nerve damage that's in my scalp, right?
Yeah.
So I have hearing aids from firing the saw. You know, if you fire the saw, and we didn't have the kind of helmets that they have nowadays.
Right.
With great ear protection and all. So I was so prepared for all the other things about being hit, so on and so forth. I didn't realize that the little things like the ear pain, the tinnitus, is what can actually drive a man crazy. I did not realize that shit could be so painful. But even deeper than that, I can only speak to you about this because this is real and raw, and because society doesn't know it happens, all right? And I didn't even know it was happening. Real quick, I want to talk to you just a second about MST, military sexual trauma in the military, all right?
Oh, God, yeah.
I did not know. Let me tell you how it went for me. Obviously, my first tour in Iraq, when we crossed the border, there were no bases yet. Everything's hot. We still on the hit. We had to clear things in order to later build bases, right? But fast forward to next year, when I came back my second year, I noticed in Kuwait that around the female showers, they had to have armed soldiers, or on different, armed Marines or armed personnel, period, around the female showers. And it blew me away, man, to go through my mind like, okay, when I left this motherfucker, this is what was going down. What the fuck have they been doing, and what has been happening that I didn't even know about? That when I come back to this damn place, we have to have our showers protected by armed, soldiers and personnel. I'm real sorry if you experienced anything along your time in your career. Being a grunt, I never had the luxury of being around females, unless we were bringing out the females and taking them from their normal jobs, whether that's admin jobs or any other jobs they were doing. When we needed females to search the Iraqi females, that is the only time I really ever got to see female personnel. So, being a grunt, there are so many things going on with women veterans that I never knew about or discovered until later, after the fact. And I feel ashamed that I never knew about it, but you can't help what you don't know. You know what I mean?
True. And those type of situations happen, like when it comes to sexual assault, it happens. But here's the thing, like as far as if it depending on who it's coming from, right? Because if it's a superior officer, or if it's a superior non-commissioned officer, say if it's a sergeant major, or if it's a first sergeant, and say if you have a soldier, junior soldier, right, that's being sexually assaulted, that sergeant major or that first sergeant, they're well connected. You know what I mean? And let's talk about all these cliques and cults, as I like to call them, like they get together and it's like they'll victim shame the victim. So the person who is sexually assaulted, they can't even really tell their story, because by the time they get to go tell their story, the perpetrator has already ran and tried to muddy the waters. So then that way, when that soldier does try to tell their story, no one believes him or her. And that's usually how they end up committing suicide. Not all of them, but a lot of them do.
See, man, and that, I ain't gonna lie to you, that's a subject where, man, once I found out female veterans and service members were going through shit like that, that's the kind of shit that, I mean, obviously we were dealing with your enemy downrange, but once I found out shit like that was going on, that made me want to start clicking and looking at the motherfuckers that was getting wrong and doing shit like that, because I didn't even know it was going down. So I apologize that you dealt with shit like that.
Yeah, it happens. And the thing is too, that's just like the female that they found in a container in one of the shipping containers. It was a black female. I have to get her name. but she wasn't my soldier or anything like that. That happened while I was retired. But the point is, she had made a complaint that she was sexually assaulted. Or we could use the female down in Texas, at Fort Hood, the Hispanic female who was,
Yeah,
sexually
I
assaulted.
remember.
She said she was sexually assaulted. They tried to, like claim that, oh, she was just being dramatic, because that's typically what they like to do. Anytime you're a woman and you try to tell your story, and you got that locker room mentality amongst men, because you do have a lot of good men out there, but you got a lot of sick ones too, unfortunately. And so the sick ones, what they like to do is click up with other sick ones. And so they'll go and they'll prey on a woman, and then they'll try to, use her as a target of some sort to sexually assault her or rape her or whatever the case may be. And so when they go and they do that, and then like I said, when she tries to tell her story, oh man, well, she's a hoe, or she's this, or she's that. And it's typically, believe it or not to say that, a woman that's unattractive to societal norms can't be sexually assaulted, because any woman can be sexually assaulted. Let's be clear. Any man can be sexually assaulted. Let's be clear, right? Because it's not gender specific. But since we're talking about women, that's the reason why I'm highlighting that point. So when, usually if it's an attractive female, right, it's hard in the military because you're getting hated on by the women. As soon as you arrive to an organization, they mad. As soon as you show up, you're just there to do your job. They already hating on you from the moment you get to the, oh, well, who this bitch thinks she is? What? I don't even know you. You know what I'm saying? What do you mean who do I think I am? I don't even know nobody here. What do you mean, who do I think I am? But that's how some women are, because they're insecure within themselves. Then you got the men who won't allow you to, you won't allow them to sleep with you. So now they'll go run around and tell these lies. I'm like, oh, well, man, she's a hoe, or she did this, or she did this and did this. Knowing damn well that's not even the case. But because you wouldn't sleep with them, or because you wouldn't allow them to have their way with you, you see what I'm saying? They'll go and spread these vicious lies. So you got to live through all of that. And so I advocate just teaching people this. It doesn't matter what lies people telling you, because time will always tell the truth.
See,
the truth prevails.
That's why I feel like I feel like regardless of what was happening in Iraq or Afghanistan or downrange, so many females were dealing with wars in the service that I had no idea was even going on, man. And so I feel like y'all were experiencing like a third war on your own level alone.
Yeah, because you deal with it within your organizations. Like I said, I remember getting into it with one of my first sergeants when I think I was a staff sergeant at the time, and he was a first sergeant. We had just gotten into Iraq, and he and I had gotten into it because I didn't play spades with him, or I didn't go to their barbecues or whatever that they had over at the clinic, So because I wasn't like in their clique, if you will, right? Okay, so he wanted to send my soldiers to continue to go over the rollover training and, all this additional training. And I'm like, first time they already went through the training. I don't have to go through it twice. You have soldiers in this company who have not even attended the training yet. I think you need to send them, right? And so his thing was, but the soldiers who hadn't attended the training was in his homeboys platoons. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they were in evac and medevac platoon. I was headquarters platoon sergeant at the time. So it's like, really, like, so you don't want to send these guys because you're cool with them, but you want to continue to send my soldiers. So no, it don't work like that. So we got into it right there in Kuwait, and the company commander, he came out there and he was like, sir, seems like Sergeant Blue, is everything okay? I said, no, it's not, sir. It's not okay. I said, your first sergeant has a problem when it comes to leadership. I say he doesn't know how to, be professional, right? As opposed to being friends with so-and-so and so-and-so. I said, my soldiers already went through this training. I don't need to go through it again. But however, those soldiers haven't even went through it once. Make it make sense, right? Oh, that joker was 38 hot with me. He was so upset with me, but it was right at the end of the day. So he had to make those other soldiers go. But why even have that type of dialogue? We shouldn't even have to go through that shit. Because when you put a person in a leadership position, and that's why I say some people, when they get into certain positions, they abuse their power. And you can apply that across the board, whether if it's military, whether if it's on the civilian sector or whatever. Certain people have no business being in leadership positions because they're toxic as hell. And so what they're going to do is they're going to take their own insecurities and they're going to make an innocent person's life miserable because they are not happy with themselves or because that person isn't kissing this person's ass. I've never been the type to kiss nobody's ass. That's just how I was raised. You understand? Just call it what it is. I don't kiss no ass. I get along with people. You know, I do. I stay in my own lane. You know, I ain't starting no shit. I ain't running from no shit either, but I'm definitely not the one starting shit. But the thing is that at the end, I'm not. But at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, just because I don't kiss a person's ass, that don't mean you get to go around and try to make my life a living hell either. You don't do that. That's not right.
Right on. Right
and it
on.
happens a lot.
I want to continue with your military journey and your military service, but first off,
Yeah.
I have to pause because I didn't know you were in the medical field. All right.
Yes.
So
Yes.
naturally, that is going to bring up the topic of PTSD for me because most people don't realize all the shit you see. All right. And I'm not just talking about battlefield. You see things that obviously most civilians and even a lot of, service members do not see. So I just want to ask if you don't mind speaking on, I don't know, the PTSD aspect of any of the things that you saw and that hit you and that, you have had to deal with, before, during, or after your service because of your job in the medical field.
Yeah. So I will tell you this because like I said, I've been retired now for 9 going on 10 years. So when I first retired from the military, I had trouble sleeping. Like that was an issue for me. The sleeping, the jumping in the middle of the night, the being startled easily, the anxiety. Like my family can tell you and my close friends, even I don't know how to really relax. Like I don't know how to relax. I try to relax, but I don't really know how to fully relax. It's like I gotta do something. And if I'm not doing something, I feel like I'm about to miss something. But that's because of the op tempo. When you're in a Charlie Med or, like when you're even in a hospital, because the hospital isn't like any other organization, right? So like, let's just take Walter Reed, for example, the old Walter Reed, the one in DC off of 16th Street and Georgia Avenue, the old campus, got to say that. So let's take that. Any medicine, you are there, that hospital has to function 24/7. So giving you blackberries, your phone constantly going off, you constantly got to, you know what I mean? So it's like it's always something. And it's the same in combat too. If it's a mass call, you got to get your ass up and get over there. Anything that's going on, you have to react, you have to respond to it. And then as far as like with soldiers not being able to, like, let's just say, because 235, I remember 235 infantry, one of their whole squads had ended up getting taken out, right, on one of their missions. And they couldn't even identify the soldiers by their face, recognition, because that's how bad the bodies were charred. So the only way they could identify those soldiers were through their dental records. Right. So we had to get the dentist to come and identify those soldiers. So you got all this stuff going on all the time, all this is going on, and you're just thinking in the back of your mind like, damn, are you next? I mean, you can't help but to think that. You can't help but to think like, damn, are you next? You just don't know.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So I'm a little curious now. What shit, two parts. One, because you're from a medical unit, are you a fan of that show MASH at all? Can you relate to it? No. Okay.
I don't watch. That's an old school. But I mean, as far as a field hospital, yes, because like I said, I am older school Army, so 115th Field Hospital, they don't even have any more field hospitals. They converted over to cash. to caches. And so before I retired, that's what they were. They were caches. But field hospitals, that's what MASH was. It was a field hospital is what it was. So, you know, it was pretty much a hospital just in the field. So it had all the different, you know, medical assets that you would in a fixed facility, you know, but you're just in the field with it.
Okay.
So that was the only difference there. So yeah, but watching the show, no, not a fan of MASH.
I just had to ask because I don't know. I just wonder, is that something you relate to on the side sometimes or whatnot? But
no, believe it or not, a show that I watch a lot of is Law and Order SVU.
Oh, I watched that myself.
That's what I do watch a lot of.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, just seeing, you know, I'm intrigued with seeing, you know, number one, how they find the victims and then how they peel the onion back and they catch the perpetrators, even though they be trying to lie, you know, but it's still easy because they typically leave, you know, prints everywhere. I teach my students, you know, typically when predators seek you out as prey, right? The first place they go is social media, especially in this day and age. That's what they do. You know, cyber stalking is a thing. You know, it's not back in the day before social media even became about, it was just regular stalking. A person, if they wanted to use you as prey or target you as prey, they would follow you around and do all this other secret squirrel type activities. But nowadays it's too easy. A person can just go on the computer and pull up your whole life for $1.99. Right. And so with that, and then they go on your social media, they create these fake pages and all this other stuff, and they say all this little dumb stuff under your comments and all that. These are people that are trying to see if you are worth the time for them to even come at you, because oftentimes what people see on social media, that's not to say that that's how that person really is in real life, right? So you can see a person online, for instance, you can see a woman online. She might look like a sheep online, but offline, she's a whole wolf. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So that's what I mean. So some people, they'll go on here and they'll look and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's an easy prey. I'm gonna get on that one next. I'm going to try to take this one down, or I'm gonna see what I can get from this one. That's why I tell my students, hey, listen, don't put too much information online. You know, give them just enough, but not everything. Don't give them everything, you know, because some people, they'll take that and then they'll try to either use that on you. They'll try to take what you have, you know, or what they think you have. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm going to put your Instagram up on the screen right now. Can we take the time for you to share everywhere that people can find you online and find your story?
Yeah. Oh, was it the cyber stalking part that triggered this? No, I'm just playing. Don't come over there with those shit. No, I'm just playing. Okay, no, but at True Lableu, you can follow me at Lableu Tactical Training. Also, I'm on Facebook. I'm Lashonda Hopkins, just my name. And then also you can check my website, which is Lableu Tactical Training as well. So you can find me in any of those places. Oh, and TikTok. TikTok is True Lableu 5, I believe it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really want to make sure I give you the chance to let everyone know where they can find you. Let's keep.
Yeah, they find me.
Let's continue on your journey.
Or they can find me at any 2A event. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah, that's actually where I want to head to. I want to head to the last thing I remember was you talking about Kirkuk and Walter Reed Hospital and all. Can we continue on your journey onto where you are now as the amazing 2A influencer and realtor and firearm instructor?
So let's go back. So I was in Kirkuk for 15 months and then went back to Hawaii. We wasn't even in Hawaii for a hot, 7 or 8 months. And then we went right back to Iraq. But the second time I went to Crit, Cop Spiker.
That's another bad area, damn it. That's another badass motherfucking area.
Yeah, it is. First of all, what I didn't know was Saddam Hussein. He had Crit, people, that stadium right there. Well, first of all, he's from Tikrit. He was born in Tikrit.
Yeah, so they're loyal to him like a motherfucker over there.
For real. But that stadium that's there on Cobb Spiker, like where we would do our PT, we'll run PT right there. It's right next to the gym. But anyways, it was a massacre there. Like he would have people executed. I'm talking about gunshot to the back of the head. He would have them executed right there in that field. I didn't know that. I learned that when I was there. So I was like, geez, because it just seemed like it was always something going on, or it just seems like it was just like a gloom of some sort there, so that's on some spiritual side. But as far as like when it's just always a whole lot of death going on,
Wow.
Like it's almost like you could feel their spirits there.
Imagine what that was like every day for you to have to spend all that time there.
Oh my God. Well, to crit, like I said, I mean, the building that we worked in, because I was in 25th ID headquarters at the time, I was in the surgeon cell. And surgeon cell, we had a great team during that time frame. Love our team that we had. But the building that we worked in, when you walked inside of the building, it was no windows. So you couldn't tell like if it was day or night. So especially like when the winter time rolled around, you would go in, it's kind of dark. You would get off, it's dark. So it's kind of depressing from that standpoint. Only time you would get like, a good glimpse of daylight or whatever, if you were going to go get something to eat or if you were going on a mission. So if you're able to fly to say Taji or, Warhorse, or where else did that go?
Warhorse, I haven't heard
able
that
to
in
fly
so
to those.
long. Damn, you took me
Yeah,
back.
Warhorse.
Damn, you took me
Yes,
back.
I know they had the greatest defect. Let me tell you something. We had the best food. That was like Iraq's best kept secret. I'm telling you.
Real.
Aside from Taji's defect, it was like you knew the damn defects from flying, from going to different bases. You knew where the good food was. You're like, where are we going? Oh, okay. We going to Warhorse? God, I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? Because I already know. At least you knew you was gonna have a good meal once you got there. So it's the little things that brighten your mood when you're over there. So yeah. So but anyway, so from there, then I ended up going to Walter Reed. I was at Walter Reed from 2010 to 2012. Then I ended up going to Korea. And I was in Korea from 2012 to 2013. Then I came to Bragg. And then from Bragg, it's like as soon as I got to Bragg, them jokers was trying to send me to Kuwait. I was like, oh my God, I literally just got here. I was like, I know you got somebody else you could send. Like, come on, man. So they was like, no, we really need you to go. I was on the white team. So I ended up going to, went to Kuwait, Arif John. And then from there, went into Afghanistan with 3rd ESC. And so then I ended up coming back to Bragg, went from Afghanistan, went back to Kuwait, then from Kuwait to Bragg. And so once I hit 19 years, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm dropping my retirement. I don't give a shit what y'all talking about. I am done. And it was like, no, you're not. You're not going to retire, so I can show you. I am dropping my damn retirement. And once I got that approved retirement from the headquarters department of the Army, baby, that shit was like right here in my AC top, my OCP top. It was like this right here. I pulled that shit out like a profile. I'm retired. Approved retirement. They're like, sir, can you go here? Can you go? Nope, can't do it. Tired.
That's what's up.
French tips. Oh, just out of control. French tips. They was like, you got your nails right. Yes, I'm retiring. Who gonna check me, boo? Who gonna check me, boo? I don't care. I'm done. Okay. I'm telling you, like when you're done, you're done. So, but yeah, so that was the thing there. So then once I retired,
tell you salute and congrats on that. Salute on all that time you put in. For real.
Thank you. But once I retired, I ended up shooting just for fun, for therapy is what I was doing. I would shoot just to, transfer that energy, so like if I would have like a negative thought, because you can't kill people,
right.
Not over here. You can't, you you can't do it and get away with it. You know what I mean?
Right. So
I'm like, okay, well, I can go to the range and I can put a person's head somewhere, in my mind, not physically, so I don't want nobody coming in. Oh my God, she's putting people's heads on targets. No. But in my mind, I can envision and I can just go to work, you know what I mean? And then I feel a whole lot better afterwards. So it really is therapy,
Range therapy,
right?
right? And
It's
range therapy.
range therapy. It is. And you feel better, and it's like boom. And you go back and you're back into your zen and you can face whatever it is that you got to face, And so that's what I tell people. You got to find something. And if it's not firearms, because firearms isn't for everybody, I understand that. So if it's not firearms, let it be some form of outlet. Go to a rage room, go to axe throwing, go to boxing, go to whatever it is that a person wants to do to get that energy out, but in a positive way, in a way that's not going to land you behind bars, right? Because
Exactly.
when I first, honey, cause hold on, cause like when I first came back from Iraq, my temperament, it was like that. Like if somebody would say something,
huh?
what if they would say something? If they would, it's like my fuse was so short. It was so short. You know what I mean? And my grandmother, may she rest in peace. My grandmother used to always say, she was like, baby, I'm so scared for you. I'm so scared that you're just gonna go sick one day. And I'm like, Grandma, no. I said, I'm gonna calm down. So through therapy, and counseling and things like that, it's definitely helped me, calm down. And believe it or not, the firearms has definitely calmed me down because I understand that you have to have a certain temperament, right? So when I see a person that's trying to go back and forth, even online, because sometimes people try to bait you into certain conversations, they'll say something stupid and then expect you to say something back to them.
Right.
And then before you know it, you back and forth. So what I do is I think about it. Okay, number one, is it worth me losing my firearms? No.
Hell no.
No. So say what you want to say. Long as you don't come trying to harm me, like take my life, or you ain't doing nothing stupid like calling fake ass urgent well-being checks on my house. Long as a person ain't doing nothing dumb like that,
right?
I don't have no problems. I don't got no problems. But they can say whatever they want to say. I don't care.
That's what's
like,
up.
For real, don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, don't care. So, yeah, not just saying that, So, yeah,
I want to lead into, like you were saying, going into when you started to learn real estate, and then when you started to actually become a 2A firearms instructor and influencer. But just real quick, I gotta admit, you were the first female veteran that I ever heard because I'm not around that many. But for you to say that grandma had the word that you were gonna set it off, that I never realized that the female veterans also had to calm down and check themselves.
Oh yes. You got some female veterans that is really with the shits. And the thing
baby.
They really with the shit. And the thing is, and you have to know how to talk yourself off of it. And so that's why I don't even want to go back and forth with nobody. That's why I'd be like, when people try to go back, I'd be like, hey, listen, I'm not about to go back and forth with you. I'm not about to go back and forth with you because I already know where it's going to go. Right. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. And some people, they want you to react. So then that way they can turn around and be like, see, look. I told you she was crazy. It's like they want you to act a fool. They want you to act crazy. Why do you want me to act crazy?
Right. Like, they want to see you set it. To me, that's one of the biggest things is not letting people use you as a bullet. I had to learn that as a grunt because they don't realize after you set it off, it's you that has to deal with all the quality of life you lose, right? Yes. All the consequences, losing comfort, losing air conditioning, beds, money, life,
Right. That's right. Everything that we as veterans, combat veterans, have already lost to a degree, because going without all those deployments, without sleeping in your bed. Sometimes you didn't have AC, the damn generator go off. You know what I'm saying? That shit go out. You ain't got no AC. You in that damn chew. It's like a damn oven in there. Or you in a tent, your ass bacon in there.
Who
you know what I mean? So That's just the reality of it. Or you go over to the defect when you first get out there, you're like, oh man, this food is good. But then after a few weeks, you're like, damn, we getting the same shit every week. They just rotating the damn menu. You know what I'm saying? That's all they're doing. You know, it's the same thing. So, you know,
like that for real.
yeah, no, straight up. So you lose the luxuries of being able to eat whatever it is that you want to eat. You lose the luxuries of being able to sleep whenever you want to sleep.
Yeah.
You know? You sleeping in the middle of the night, you get incoming. You got to get your ass up, go to the bunker, right? You know, so all this different things that happen, you can't even get a good night's rest. So we've already lost those comforts, right, to a degree. So I can't even imagine losing all comforts of life. And for what? For what? Like you and I were talking about, this is a great segue to it. Like you and I were talking when we you know, before the show even started. So today I had made a comment on this guy's post because he was talking about the incident that took place in Florida. And when I see things like that, you know, I try to use, you know, my voice as a way to speak and get people to think, right? So the thing is that he was like, oh, you know, I didn't see the whole video. And well, first of all, go watch the whole video.
Damn right.
You gotta watch the whole video. You can't speak on something if you ain't even watched the whole damn video. You don't even have the full story, right? You got to go get the full story, then come back and let's talk about it, right? Okay, so anyway, so it was about the incident that took place in South Florida where I gotta say the Black female, she pulled out, and the only reason why I'm saying race is because we're gonna get somewhere with it, because this last comment that came through about it, they very much so brought race into the chat. I don't know why people, it really, to me, it don't even matter what the race is. It really does not. A person had a firearm in their hand, right? Okay. And then you had the gentleman who was, you know, coming up and he was walking or whatever. They started there. That's not where they started in all actuality. That incident started far before that. Those two jokers were getting into it over a parking spot. Now let's pause on that. A parking spot. Is a parking spot worth you losing your livelihood?
Hell no.
No, it's not. It's not. Right? So what is so hard about, hey man, you know what? Go ahead and get the parking. I don't care. I'll go park over here. What's so hard about that? Yeah. So now let's get up to the female getting out the vehicle with a firearm in her hand. Well, we already done went to the highest form of escalation of force at that point. You get out your vehicle with your firearm in your hand. Where else can we go from here?
It's going to get
other
nasty.
Than jail,
you know that. Right. It's about to get nasty.
Right? Because that's going to put any reasonable person on high freaking alert, and they're going to come with you. Now, the guy, I'm not saying that he was right. I'm not saying either one of them was right. I think they both were very much so wrong. Both of them were not adulting that day. But the point is that when that guy was walking, you know, towards her, he was, from what it appeared in the video, he was trying to call her bluff. Oh, you ain't going to do shit. But he had his hands up when she shot him, though. So when his hands are up like this, he's not charging at her or anything like that. He doesn't have a weapon in his hands. His hands are like this. So what is the threat? What is the threat? You got to justify use of deadly force. And I get it. Florida is a stand your grounds law state. I get it. Florida is a constitutional carry state. But this is what I will never get. You're not going to take nobody's life over a freaking parking spot. Lady, at best, she might get 10 to 15 years with manslaughter at best, right? Now, she'll have 10 to 15 years to sit down and think about, damn, you know what? I don't even need to be in here. I should have just went to go get another fucking parking spot.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all one had to do. So that emotional intelligence is important, but I don't know why a lot of people nowadays, because of the constitutional carry states, and people aren't getting trained. They're not trained. They don't know the laws. They don't give a shit to know the laws. All they know is, oh, it's my right. It's my Second Amendment right, and I can carry. Yeah, but you don't know the laws. Because if you knew the laws, you wouldn't even got out your damn car with your gun in your hand.
Right. You gotta know
if you
how
know the
to
laws,
move,
if you're going to
man.
carry, at least you got to know how to move and at least take the time to learn the freaking gun laws for your prospective state and whatever state that you are going to be traveling to and from. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just got to take the time to learn. But people don't want to learn. They'll spend money on everything else. They're spending on weave, nose, rhinoplasties, boob jobs, all this other shit. They'll spend money on whatever else, Jordans. They'll spend on whatever else, but they will not spend it on their education.
That's a great point, because everybody gets that God complex when they got a gun in their hands. And then, like you said, though, people don't realize from state to state, you can change things when you brandish it. Once you pull it out, once they, I mean, it's like you said, people don't take the time to realize, yes, there's a way to move with this legally, but you got to do some thinking too. Otherwise, you're going to throw away your shit. You're going to throw away your freedom, your ability to rock from state to state. You're throwing away a lot.
Right. And so, and my point is, who won in that situation? You know, we can go back and forth all day online. Everybody got an opinion after something happens. But who really won in that situation? Nobody. She didn't win, nor did the guy. Neither one of them won. They both lost. And I say again, over a freaking parking spot. It's not worth it. It's just simply not worth it, you know. Now, if somebody's doing something to a child, you know, you trying to harm my baby, it's something different. You trying to do like old boy, you know, did Felicia Rashad on the Beekeeper. You trying to scam and take all my damn money out of my account. That's different. I might have to hunt you down after that. I just might. That's a reason to me. You know what I'm saying? Now I know legally it ain't a reason, but I'm just saying, you know, it has to be a justifiable reason. You know, a parking spot to me is not a reason. Hell, even if somebody cut me off, that's not really a reason. As long as you don't hit my vehicle. And even if you do hit my vehicle, hey, I hope you have insurance, because I'm gonna need my baby fixed. Exactly. And it's your fault. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You know, we don't got to go back and forth. We ain't got to cuss or nothing. True story. A few weeks ago, I was driving down Rayford Road, and I know you haven't been to Bragg, because you said you were some Marines, right? Have you ever been here?
No, but the being from Florida, I should have been stationed in North Carolina, right? I went through infantry school in Jacksonville, North Carolina, over there near Lejeune, right? But when Iraq was going down, they started sending entire infantry classes out west to California to 1st Marine Division. So for me, you know, going on leave from Florida to North Carolina would have been lovely, but I ended up out in Cali, you know, and my crazy ass, I got tired of sitting on planes, so I drove from Florida to Cali twice and back. But yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know Carolina like that. I wish I did. If everything would have worked out, you know.
Yeah, it's okay. And I'm familiar a little bit with the training area out there. The National Training Center out of Fort Irwin, NTC, in the middle of the Mojave Desert.
In the Mojave Desert. I used to be a little bit lighter than I am now. I ain't gonna say I was red bone. You know what I'm talking about. You know?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Baking and burning out there in the desert, baby. Ain't no exfoliating. Ain't no skin exfoliating going on with us, baby.
Hell, oh man, oh my God. You just brought back a trigger moment for me. Oh my goodness, man. That long ass road out there in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly.
Oh God.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just got triggered for a second. Okay, I'm back. So as far as but seriously, so here in Fayetteville, I was driving down Rayford Road, and right when I got down Rayford and I made that left turn onto Skybow, this car just comes up hauling ass and like starts tailgating me and all this other crazy shit. I'm just like, what is this about? That's what I'm thinking in my head. Like, what is going on with this guy? And then I get to the next light, right? Because I'm going to the car wash. So I get to the next light, and then, he's still like tailgating or whatever, and then turns. He just so happened to be going to the car wash too. I didn't even know this guy. So he's going to the car wash. He turns into, it's 2 lanes to get in the car wash. So he turns into the left lane. I go into the right, with the members. So I go in. He ends up going first, no problem. But it was a truck waiting to go into, only one car can go in through the stall at a time, through the wash, whatever you call it. Only one can go through there. So anyway, so once we both got our vehicles through there, I went and parked in the handicap spot. And then I walked over there to go get a towel. And I was like, I looked at him, and he was like, I know. Like he already felt guilty. He already felt guilty. He knew he was wrong. He was like, I know. I was rushing, I had to hurry up, get, I've been rushing, I'm running behind. I said, but what does that have to do with me? In that tone. Now, but what the fuck that got to do with me? No. I said, well, what does that have to do with me? Right? That was the tone I kept it. What does that have to do with me? I said that and I walked off. Right? I went over, I can't make it up. I'm drying my vehicle off. I kid you not. Homeboy comes over, and you know what he did? He apologized.
For real.
He said, I am so sorry for that. He said, my wife tells me all the time that I need to slow down. I said, it's okay. I said, but thank you for coming to apologize. You see that?
That's what's up.
So that's the point that I'm making. That is the point that I'm making. Yes, you just have to know how to talk to people. You got to know. Remember in the military, they used to teach us about different types of approaches, right? So typically, if you approach a person, in a calm manner, unless they're a freaking psychopath or sociopath, they should respond back to you in a calm manner because you're being calm to them, right?
Right.
But now, if a person comes up to you, well, shit, you're going to reciprocate that behavior.
Damn right. You damn right, baby. It's on.
Who the fuck is you talking to? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you think this is? Oh, don't you let all this other shit fool you. You know what I'm saying? It's always another side to the coin. Don't do that. Now I try to be.
That's when that fair non side come out of you, ain't it? That's when that fair non come out. Blue got that fair non side. I told y'all, be careful. Every female you see on WarDawg Ladies, your ass better be careful, man. They will.
All I'm saying is everyone has the yin and the yang.
The yin and the yang, baby. That's what it is.
Love and light, and we try to lead out with that. But if I'm leading out and I'm being respectful and you're being disrespectful, I mean, what do you expect me to do? Just let you be disrespectful? No, because that's how you get bullied. That's how you get bullied. A bully will only leave you alone once you let them know, hey, listen, this ain't that. This is not that. And once you show them that, then they'll go find them somebody else to bully. But if you just sit there and you just let them yell and all this other stuff at you and you don't say nothing, at least give them something to think about. Like, okay.
Can we continue with your transition from the military into realty and becoming a firearms instructor?
Yes.
And leading to you winning your award?
Of course. So I actually became a firearms instructor first before actually becoming a realtor. Now I purchased real estate back in 2010. That was my first property ever. It was a new construction built from the ground up when I was stationed at Walter Reed. So, and then bought the property here in North Carolina. So as far as being a buyer, being a seller, being a landlord, because when I PCS to Korea, I had to rent that property out. So I played landlord for a while, and that's always a flip of the coin, whether if you're going to get a good tenant or not so good tenant, whether, you have to end up putting money into your property or you end up taking a loss. you know. So that was the experience there. So I already had real estate experience from the consumer side, but then I went to become an actual realtor, you know, so then that way I can learn the behind the scenes as far as being an agent. So, and what makes me a realtor is because I'm a member of the National Association of Realtors, you know, which is through our local association of realtors here. So that's what makes you a realtor. So everybody's not a realtor because everybody's not a member of the National Association of Realtors. So you can be a broker or you can be a real estate agent, but not necessarily a realtor. A lot of people don't know that. So it is a difference.
And
So,
what
but yeah,
years? Yeah, what years were we talking about when you jumped off the porch into your you know, social
firearms.
media, well, firearms
Oh,
instructor, and
oh God.
like when did you start your YouTube, your TikTok, your Instagram?
So
When did you
here's
start? You know,
here's what's crazy. So I don't even have YouTube like that. To be honest with you, I do
oh, for
not.
real?
I don't. So we can get that started because I don't even have no YouTube.
Yeah,
Seriously,
okay.
straight up,
Hey,
I
but
don't.
you still doing the damn thing though. Shit,
Without
you don't
YouTube.
need it. You don't need it.
Without YouTube. So I started my IG because I didn't even have an Instagram until 2000. I think it was 2022, 21 or 22, one of those years. That's when I got IG. I kid you not. So
Okay.
like 4 years. I've been having Instagram. Now I've been on Facebook, but IG is new. It's still, I mean, well, it's not new now, but you know, 4 years, but you know, it's still not. I haven't been on it forever, ever. I haven't been doing it for, you know, 5+ years. No, you know, so just to see the amount of, you know, just love, like I said, just the amount of love that I've received, it's crazy. And how did I get into this 2A space? I will forever ever say it, and he already knows. If he's watching, he better be watching. If he ain't, he probably working. But how I even got into this 2A space was because of Michael Williams Sr. Because to be honest with you, I didn't even know nothing about a 2A community. I knew nothing of it. I didn't even know who Black Rambo was a few years ago. I didn't even know who he was. I know that's crazy. That is so crazy to even say that out loud. But I didn't even know who he was. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who Mark Chopper was. I didn't know who Jada Shooter was. I didn't know who none of these people were. I was like, who? You know what I'm saying? I didn't know who Lady Wick was. I was like, who are these people? I don't know them. Like, who are you talking about? So when they came to the Guns and Boxing event, well, Jada Shooter wasn't there, but the other ones were. And so when they came to the Guns and Boxing event that Michael Williams Sr. and his team threw, that's when I started meeting a lot of the gun tubers and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, this shit is fun. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was like, this is my tribe. I was like, I feel like I found my family. I was like, this is my tribe over here. I was like, okay, love it. And so, and from there, I mean, the rest has just really been history. And so that's the reason why no matter any chance I get, I always make sure that I give him his flowers, because if it wasn't for him throwing that Guns and Boxing event, I wouldn't have met, you know, all of those people. At least I don't think I would have, you know, at least not at that time. I wouldn't have met them. So that's the reason why I always give him his flowers for making that connection and making all those connections. And so since then, it's just been up from there. You know, when I met Lableu Tactical, I was like, my gosh, that's like a sister from another mother and daddy. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, just like twins. And then Sierra from Queens on a Mission, that's my baby right there. 762 Lou, that's my bookie. Who else? Oh gosh, it's just so many great ladies out there, and I know they're gonna be like, oh, you better not forget. They're so beautiful and just talented and just doing their things, and I just love it. I love to see it, and like I said, I just love the support. You know, the genuine support. Those that genuinely support. I do love it. I do love it. Love it all day. I'm for it.
I have to ask you the one part that tripped me out being military, all right? And because you are an Army veteran with all your qualifications, I just had to ask you from a woman's standpoint, how I don't know. When I first jumped in around 2019, I had to understand the difference between who you are on paper and then how entertaining you are, right? Because I had to really understand in that 2A space, if you're coming from military or law enforcement background, you can really, I don't know, get a little confused as far as understanding, okay, well, you have the experience of this or you have qualifications of that, but then you have to open your eyes to the fact that there are people that are entertaining and you cannot control that. You can't control what people like, who they like, the swag, how they look, the presentation. If something is dope and entertaining, you gotta rock with it. That's what the field is all about, So
Absolutely.
Can you speak on that as a from the female side of it?
I most certainly will and can speak on it. So a few weeks ago, and shout out to the Cumberland County Firearms Safety Team chaired by Mrs. Danielle Little. But a few weeks ago, we did the another gun violence awareness event, and it was the Dine-In Part 2 series. And what was so great about it was
that when you were wearing orange?
No, that was a different event. That was a different
okay.
We had another event. Right. We had another. I didn't even post about that. So here's the thing. So things be happening so quick. Sometimes I don't post about it until weeks later. And then you be like, damn, when did that happen?
You're a part of so much. Hell, it's hard to keep track of you. That's why I said you're your own vibe. That's why you're a WarDawg lady in my mind. You got so much going on, so many skills. It's like, damn, man. What else?
Yeah, what's next? I don't know. I might jump off the moon next. No, I'm just playing. But back to it. We had an event, and it was a great event because it was also it was like a collaborative event with the public safety department here, the Cumberland County Public Safety. And so they were able to talk to the youth, right? And so it was a lot of counselors, therapists over there, mental health professionals, that were able to talking to them about gun violence. But then as the adults, we were on the opposite side of the table. And so, you had from politicians to gun activists, to educators on the other side. And so we're sitting there, we're having these conversations. But at the end, what was so profound about it is once those children came back over and they were able to tell what they are seeing, and this is going to come together, just stay with me. They were able to tell what they're seeing in reference to what you just said about entertainment versus reality. So we have our children who struggle with the difference between entertainment and reality. But to a certain degree, that's expected, right? Because they're children. So they're still trying to learn. Their frontal lobe isn't closed yet. So they're still growing. And as adults, we are still supposed to be there helping mold and shape their mind on the right way to go so they can be a law-abiding citizen, right? That's what our roles are as adults and as parents. But when it comes to adults not knowing the difference between entertainment and reality, right? So when you scroll on social media, and I get it because I love it. Like I said, I'm here for it all. Everybody has their own niche, and some things can be cool and funny, but then some things it's like our children are watching too. Our children are watching, and they're going to think, okay, damn, can I go out there and emulate that? That's why I started putting on my videos, music is for entertainment purposes only. I started doing that because I don't want anybody seeing any of my shooting videos and then thinking that, okay, that's what they need to be out here doing in the street. No, because that's definitely not what they need to be doing out here in the street, and hate it like it, love it. Our music is so influential. It's so influential. Everybody loves hip hop. I mean, if you were to put a gun video with Kirk Franklin playing in the background, I mean, it'd probably get like one like, maybe. It's sad to say. It's sad. No, I'm just being honest. It's sad to say that, but it's designed that way, right? It's designed that way. And so, and I get it. So people do things, for likes and views, because that's what gets the masses going, and that's what creates the following. So I get it. But at the end of the day, it's a fine line between that entertainment and reality. And for people who don't agree with what they see, guess what they have the luxury of doing? Keep scrolling up. You ain't even gotta say shit. Just keep scrolling up. You don't gotta like it. You don't gotta comment. You don't gotta do nothing. You can just keep on scrolling. You know what I mean? But typically what people will do, they'll sit there, watch the whole damn video. I don't like that shit. But watch the whole video. I don't like that shit. Send it to that group chat. Send it to that group chat. Did you see that shit? Did you see that? That shit wait. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that shit. I don't like. So that's what they do. And it's like, come on, man. You don't gotta do that. You don't gotta do that. Don't be a hater.
Can we let's take that time for you to flex, all right? For you to show off that ARM award and to talk about your 3 favorite guns.
Okay. Well, first of all, what Cardi B say? Does she even got a BET award? You want to be with me? Are you sure? No, I'm just playing. No, but let me tell you something. This was so special to me. Shout out to RGG again. That is a humble brother. I really love everything that he stands for and what he's doing in the 2A space as well. Shout out to Stellar Arms, because they were the sponsors for the event. They did a phenomenal job. I mean, the entire weekend was nice. I'm so upset with myself I didn't make it down there for the boat ride, but the event itself, it was great. I'm talking grown and sexy is what it was. It was no foolishness, no nothing, at least from what I saw.
Jacksonville, right?
Jacksonville, yes.
All right. Duval in the building.
Oh, okay. And then they had us right there by the bridge. You know what I'm saying? It was nice. It was really, really nice. The range was nice. I mean, it was all love. The food was good. I'm all about the food. I judge events based off of the food. That's why Jay the Shooter, I love all his food is always phenomenal. Okay, but he brings that Caribbean vibe. I love it. So, but it was really, really good. So I just love it. And like I said, I really just appreciate it because it's a community award. And so that's why I was like, and all the ladies, and it's not even on I'm not better than anybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm just me, So, but I just appreciate people for just acknowledging what I do within my perspective area, because we're all doing our part. It's like a big puzzle and we're all bringing our pieces together, for the same greater good. That's how I look at it.
Right. That's what's up. And how about your three favorite firearms?
Okay. So, well, I got one right here. I don't know if I can show it. I don't think we can show it on here, but
if you brief with it, I don't give a damn.
Okay. Bam.
It's your favorite.
Okay, that's my favorite. Okay, so I just pulled it. Okay, so I have Mechanic MC9 Prime. I love that Mechanic Mete MC9 Prime. So, and again, got to give a quick story because the 2A Summerfest is literally next week. So that's going to be in Huntsville, Alabama this year. We were in Georgia last year, Villarica, Georgia last year. So, but this year it's in Huntsville, Alabama. So shout out to Byron, the instructor. That's where I won my Mechanic Mete MC9 Prime. I won it. I didn't even buy it. See what I'm saying? How can you not love this community? You get to win guns. I mean, how cool is that, man? How cool is that, man? You don't even got to buy guns. You just win them.
That's dope. That's hella dope. For real, though.
Right. You know what I mean? So that's one. My Springfield Echelon with the threaded barrel, because I can throw a suppressor on there. So that's my second one. And then lastly, I would have to say my IWI Masada. As far as pistol goes, those are my top 3. I like those.
All right. And what can we expect from True Lableu and Lableu Tactical Training in the future? Any announcements or any gun events that you might be at coming up?
Yes, definitely. I just gave you one jewel, honey, but I'll give it to you again. I'll run it back.
Real. My bad. I'm a slow grunt over here. You know how grunt take a minute to process,
It's okay. So again, I will be at the 2A Summerfest with Byron, the instructor. We're pulling up on that one. And then I will be down He doesn't even know I'm coming yet, so I was gonna surprise him, but I guess I'll go ahead and put that out there.
No,
I'll
keep
be
it secret. Keep it secret.
okay. Well, I'll tell
That
you
way
the
your
same.
arrival.
I'm gonna be back in Florida.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna be back in Florida. Okay, and then that's gonna be it. I'm gonna sit a little behind down somewhere.
All right. And let me see. One last time, I'm going to show your Instagram. If you can just provide us with any final words
Yes.
that you have, period, for females, female influencers, anybody.
Yes. Yes. So this is what I would like to say, as far as for female influencers, listen, it's a space for all of us. All of us. It's a place for everybody on here. It's no need for no hateration in this dancery. It just isn't. So embrace each other, support each other. If you see somebody trying to get to the next level or trying to do whatever, just be supportive. Like, genuinely be supportive. A repost, a like, fire, or whatever you want to say, it's not going to cost you nothing at all, and guess what? It gets reciprocated. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would have to say for the ladies. I already hit up Sierra. We're about to push out some dope content, so you will be seeing that coming. Got some creativity coming up. I think you fellas gonna love this one though. I think y'all gonna like it. If you like the other one when we're pulling guns out the refrigerator, you're really gonna like this one. So got that coming up. Mm-hmm.
That's what's
that's not the last. I'm sorry. And then for the men, because I got to leave something for everybody else, just make sure that you're doing your part within your communities, right? Because it is a collaborative, effort. So as far as whether if you can get a young man, take him under your wing, or get an older man who's lost and take him under your wing, you know what I mean? And just talk and just have that brotherhood, that mentorship. Because it seems like women do better as far as like coming together and, trying to hold each other accountable to a certain degree. It seems like you see that more so, but I would love to see it on the male side too, as far as holding these men accountable. Like if they're fathers, make them, I know you can't make them be fathers, but don't let them come sit at your table if he ain't being a father. You know what I'm saying? Or if you know that this joker isn't responsible or whatever the case may be, just be your brother's keeper and hold them accountable. Stop enabling them. And it's the same for women. Women, if we see something that's not cool, don't be afraid to call your sister out and be like, hey, listen, come on now. What are you doing? Let's knock it off. Because that's the only way we get better. It's the only way we get better. And we can't hide behind, oh, I'm grown. I can do whatever I want to do. That's because you don't want to improve. That's what that means.
So
that's all about.
I was about to wrap it up, but I wanted to ask you one last question because you're the only one.
Said that the last time.
You're the only one I can actually ask this though. Is
okay.
All right, with you understanding me being a grunt, right?
Of course.
I feel like I'd be a real big hypocrite if I try to speak to the youth, or if I try to tell them not to be violent or not to touch guns, considering what I used to be about. Can you help me wrap my head around exactly what I'm supposed to be doing or saying or whatever to the youth? Because it's a real conflicting spot for me.
So absolutely, because the thing is that you have to look at it this way, right? And that's a great question. When you were doing grunt work in the Marines, right? That was your job. That was your career. That was your profession, right? So it's no different than a person a teacher that's going to school and is teaching, or a police officer, or whomever. Fill in the blank with any occupation, right? You were doing a job. And your job was highly important because that protects our freedoms and our way of life, right? So by you doing that, and whatever it is that you did when you were in combat, that can be a way for you to still talk to the youth, right? Because you can talk to those young men who are thinking about joining the military, and you can tell them some of your experiences, what you experienced. Now it's a different Army today, Like I said, I've been retired coming up on 10 years. It'll be 10 years next February. I'm not sure how long have you been out, But the point is that your experiences are still, relevant. So you can talk to them and just educate them on, hey, listen, well, if you do join the military, these are some of the things that you may experience, and as far as being out in your communities, just make sure that you're making the right decisions, make sure that you're thinking. You can talk to them about those things, right?
You don't think being a grunt automatically means I should shut the fuck up? Because that's what I live with.
No.
I've never tried to recruit people. I've never been a recruiter in the Marines, but I do own up to what I was doing and what I used to love and get paid for is the opposite of what everybody. So I don't know. I just can't think of anything other than to be quiet, to be honest with you.
No. And so let me tell you something. No, you don't need to shut the fuck up, because the thing is that you have guys who went to prison, right? And I've seen this because they have mentorship programs at that same event that I was telling you about, the gun violence awareness, the Dine-In Part 2. It was a gentleman at that particular one, and even at the Dine-In Part 1 series, there was another gentleman there. They both had served prison sentences for taking someone's life, right? One guy took multiple people's lives. But the point is that now he's talking to the youth to explain to them, like, hey, listen, you don't have to go where I went. You don't have to end up how I did. You can use your mind differently. You can think, use that emotional intelligence. Find another way to channel those emotions. Go talk to someone, whether if you're dealing with any type of trauma, because see, that's what's not talked about enough. There are resources out there that are available to all of us, right? However, when it comes to our male population, they feel like it's a sign of weakness if they go and they receive any of those resources. It's not. It's actually a sign of strength, because you're trying to get better. You're trying to get better. And so if you're better, that means your family is going to be better. That means your community is going to be better, right? And it's the same for women too, So that's what I'm saying. So don't look at it as a negative. Look at it as a positive. You went through everything that you went through. That's what shaped you into who you are today. Look at all of these great things that you have done and doing and are doing, right? You don't think that's worth sharing to another young man?
I've just been ashamed of for so long that I can't really, get my head past that part.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to challenge you with that. I think you should do that.
All right. I'm gonna definitely take that answer to heart and work my head around it. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on the show. This has been an amazing talk, an amazing chance to hear your story and everything that you have going on. I really appreciate you again. And I really want you to enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. And thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been WarDawg Ladies, episode 2 with Lashonda Blue Hopkins, straight out of North Carolina. Thank you, Blue.
Thank you. See ya.
All right, everyone. Salute.
I don't trust it. Go crazy.
Go crazy.
GM on the beat.
Hey, go crazy. Go stupid. Go crazy. Go stupid. It's the party, time to spot and catch a vibe, huh? Get your dog, gon' get ready, time to ride, huh? Got your hair done and your hair cut. Makeup poppin', fellas got the Rolex. Go crazy. Go stupid. Go crazy. Go stupid. It's a cool Friday night and yeah, I'm trying to catch a vibe. All the dogs just hit my phone and told me peace, it's time to ride. You know that I'm dead fresh every time my niggas fly. Face it first when I be moving, keep the toolie on my side. Cause I'm real out the bottom, so I'm all about $1. Still hanging in the hood, mean I'm drinking out the bottle. Almost at the little party, finna let my nut hang. Came in 4 deep and we ain't touching no chains. Lot of babies in the bit, I can see them real clear. Yeah, the light to hit a nigga, shining like a chandelier. Time to head to the bar, chill, I got the first round. Pool table wide open, finna lock the bitch down. Couple rounds on the table, yeah, the liquor kicking in. Got a pocket full of money and I ain't scared to spend it. Threw some legs at the bar, so I caught the